Good afternoon, everybody. So today we are going to talk about creating strong passwords. These are the aspects that we are going to cover today. So we have 2 rules to live by. The 2 important rules you should always remember when creating passwords. Guidelines to creating passwords, what you should take into consideration when doing so. Creating a password, the walkthrough of creating a strong password, what to include in the password, and what kind of characters you should use. Additional tips, other information that can help you in creating strong passwords, common mistakes, what you should not do when coming up with passwords, and learning more about the two-form factor authentication. So the 2 rules to live by. Rule number 1, password length. Have at least 8 characters on your passwords. However, 10 characters or longer might benefit you better. The more characters there are in the password, the better and secure the password is going to be. The time taken for someone to obtain your password will be longer if you are using those extra precautions. Second rule, password complexity. The password should contain 1 character from each of the following groups: lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and special characters. The 8-4 rule. When combined, it is known as the 8-4 rule. What this means is that you should have at least 8 characters in your password, and from those 8 characters, at least 1 should be lowercase, 1 should be uppercase, 1 should be a number, and 1 should be special characters. So out of those 8 characters, you should have 4 with the description we are giving you right here. The guidelines to creating a secure password. Something is called unique characters. You should have at least 5 different characters. If following the 8-4 rule we just mentioned, you will have 4 already. We have used this example of a person who used the word bubble gum for their password. And that is, really nothing wrong with this password, but you can make it extra secure by including a capital letter. So in the case after, we have included a capital letter, which is the U, and we have replaced the L and the E for characters that look similar. In this case, the 1 and the 3. And at the end of the word, we have included the exclamation mark to give that password an extra layer of security. The special characters can be the exclamation mark, the quotation mark, the number sign, the percentage sign, the parentheses, plus sign, star sign, slash, equal. What is a password manager? So a password manager is a system that will help you manage different accounts with different passwords. Accounts can be, for instance, your email, but also your bank account, the username you use to sign in your bank, or any other application. If you have been asked at some point to sign up in an application, most likely you have an account, but also a password. Using a password manager tool should become a habit. Anytime you create a password, you should note it down somewhere. Use an application or write it down in a safe and secure place. Passphrase. You can also use initials or phrases or songs to help you create a password easier to remember. An example of this and a phrase we have used is passwords are like socks. Change yours often. So we have capitalized the first letter, which is P, and basically we have used the first two letters of the word password. The following we did was replace the L from like for a number one. And after we use the lower capital letter for S, we use the comma as a replace for a special character. We use C for change, and we capitalize the Y and the O, as you can see. That gives us exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters in total, which is the ideal. And let's see how you can get to the point of the password you just reviewed. So for instance, you can start with a sentence or two about 10 words in total. Think of something meaningful to you. We have used this phrase. Long and complex passwords are safest. I keep mine secret. So in this slide, you can see how we have used every single initial letter from the previous phrase. Okay, and this gives us a total of 10 characters. To add complexity to your password, you can make some of the letters uppercase. So for instance here, and in comparison to the previous slide, we use the L, P, and the K as capital letters, and that adds that extra layer of security. We are still having 10 characters. Say we move forward. What else can you include? You can add length with numbers if that's something might be easy for you. And you can use numbers that are meaningful to you. This can be included within the letters. We already capitalized some of the letters, and what we did in this case is include two numbers in between, so it looks a little bit more challenging to guess. And you can use really any numbers you want. You can use 2, you can use 3, as you prefer. Additionally, you can include punctuation or even symbols, and you can add them whether it's at the beginning or at the end, whatever that might be. In this case, we include the at and the $sign at the end. If you pay attention to how far we have come, we start with the initial and we make an acronym. We capitalize some letters. We include numbers to add length. And we include special characters to add more security to that password. And we end exactly with 14 characters. Additional tips that we can offer for you in order to create a strong password are the following. You can use, or you should use, the entire keyboard, not just characters you use or see often. An advice that we can give you is that use the characters that are far aside from the central focal point of your keyboard. Some examples of these could be the letter Q or the letter C or the quotation mark, the question mark, the slash. All these characters are considered a little bit more challenging, if you will. Whenever possible, try and use 14 characters or more. The greater the variety of the password, the better it's going to be. If you ever want to test your password, you can use something is called a password checker. And you can go, for instance, to websites such as the one you are seeing in the presentation, www.passwordmeter.com. It is okay to write down passwords. Just make sure you keep them in a safe and secure place. Store them away from your computer or the place you usually store your devices. Make sure that the person who has access to this is you, if you don't want other people to be getting this information without your consent. Common mistakes when creating a password. Some of us at some point have used our name, the username of important things, names of family members, or even pets. Also, personal details such as your birthday, your address, or hometown. Number sequence. What this means is that you use sequence of the keyboard such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in order to create a password. That is considered easy to guess. So you should be a little bit more mindful than that. And a very bad example about an unsecure password is using the word password followed by number. Though you have two different type of characters there, lower caps and also numbers, this is an easy password to guess. More common mistakes are obvious expressions and words. So for instance, something is obvious is the word password or secret. Common character substitutions. So people often tend to relate the letter A with the character at, as well the letter S with the character of the dollar symbol. Also, people tend to use the number 0 in replacement to the letter O. So you should avoid this whenever possible. Finally, using the same password or passphrase for personal, work, and any other type of accounts. What this means is that you should do your best to separate your accounts from the different kind of matters you have. And if you can set up a different password for every type of account you have, that will probably offer more security to the things and navigation you do online. We have something is called the two-form factor authentication. And what this does is offering an extra layer of security to make sure people trying to get into an account are who they say they are. Meaning, if it is not you and it's somebody else trying to access your account and you have not given them permissions to do so, you will receive a notification to prevent that. First, a user must enter the username and password, and afterwards, they will be required to enter another piece of information. Another piece of information can be security questions, something that only you will know, like the city you were born, like the name of your first child. All those kind of questions are considered security questions. And also, there is another type of two-factor authentication, which can be a code, a series of numbers or unique numbers given to you only one time. They are not the same every time. And this can be sent through your mobile device or your email account. Okay, on the occasion of discussing a little bit about creating strong passwords, I want to let you know that your iPad has a free password manager made by Apple and it's called iCloud Keychain. Apple built the iCloud Keychain to be invisible during everyday use. With that said, I'm going to refer to the settings application. And when you are in the settings application, if you scroll on the left side all the way to the bottom, you will have an option or a menu called passwords. If you tap in that password options, you will then see the iCloud keychain I mentioned. And what this application do for you is to help you sign into applications and websites that require an username, but also a password. Not only that, when you have any problems related with the password because the password is not secure, there will be notifications or something is called security recommendations to be able to find that issue. So for instance, if you see this kind of check mark, it means that there are no issues found by the iCloud keychain. But if you ever come to this place and you see kind of a circle with an X inside in a red looking color as opposed to green, it means there will be something for you to take care of. If I go to this option, for example, where it says security recommendations, I will tap in there, and what it shows is this particular option that you can set up in order to detect compromised passwords when you sign in a portal or an application from your iPad. So what your iPad does is securely monitor your passwords and alert you if they appear unknown or something is called data leaks. If you pay attention also in the screen, you have this option that says about passwords and privacy. And you can tap in those blue letters and it will take you a little bit more about this particular thing. Your device can securely store your safe account information, such as your passwords and associated usernames or email addresses. When you are prompted to enter your account information, such as in an app or within a website, your device may automatically help you enter your information without you doing anything else. Your account information is encrypted on your device and cannot be viewed by Apple. You are the person in control of this. So this is an excellent tool that you can use in order to manage your account. This is considered a password manager. So I'm gonna tap in done at the top right corner right here, and I will be taken out. So you want to make sure that you are with this option enable. And when I say enable, this is a kind of switch option. And if you want to disable, just tap and it will turn out to be gray. If you want to enable, you will tap and it will turn out to be green. When something is green, it means it's enabled. I will then tap at the top where it says passwords in blue letters, and I will be taken back here. If I scroll a little bit more, you can see how in front of me I have the different usernames and passwords that I have stored through the password manager iCloud keychain. And if you ever want to see the details of a password and a username you have used for one of your accounts, you can refer to that arrow pointing to the right side, tapping that arrow, and then it will show the information about that particular account. So some things it will tell you is, for instance, when this account was last modified. And in my case, I did a modification today. So that's why you can see that. You have the username, which is the email address I use for that account. And if you tap in this part, it will show or display the password you use with that account. For security reasons, this is not going to be displayed at this point. But if you ever encounter this and you want to know what password you use with that application, you can just tap in the top of password and it will display that information. Also, for any accounts or application sign up details that you store in your iPad, you will have something is called account options. and you can add self notes, set up a verification code, and even change password on their website if the applications allows that part. So it's a very nice thing to have in mind. So I will just go to the top passwords and I will go back to where I was. So this is something that you can use in order to help you manage all those application sign up details that you might have. All right. And another great thing that you can do apart from security recommendation is autofill passwords. And if you wonder what this is, I will just tap in this arrow on the right side and I will then see what kind of system my iPad uses to fill those details. So I have at the moment this option that is called autofill passwords. What this means is that in the future, when I go to log in into an application or even my email through the browser, the details to log in will be already saved and I don't need to manually type them. And as I say, the application that allows that to happen is called Keychain iCloud. And through this application, you can have that peace of mind that you don't need to remember those sign in details to access that application or that website. If you ever want to disable this, is again a type of switch, and you can tap over to disable, and you see how the options at the bottom disappear, and tap again to enable. If you want to make your life easy and you manage a huge or even medium amount of accounts, different accounts with different applications, this might be a good option for you to manage those applications and those sign in details. All right. So I will leave it at here. I hope that you find this information helpful and thank you so much for listening.